So I've got 2 large kitchen spoons of this sourdough starter, which you can see here. I've got 2 spoons of that in my mixing bowl with 400 millilitres of warm water from the tap, and I'm just mixing it together for a few minutes. I've got in here, I've got 550 grams of flour in total. 100 grams of it is wholemeal flour, and 450 grams is that organic bread flour. And I'm going to add the flour into this mixture of starter and water. So I've added all the flours, and I'm just going to give that a good old mix now for about 5 minutes for it to come together, and then when it comes together I'll show you what it looks like. There is no salt in this at the moment. I'll add the salt later after I've rested it a little bit. Okay, so you can see it's quite soft, and that's because it's got a really high water content, but that's fine. It will, as it stretches the gluten, it'll come firmer. It'll change its appearance as we work it through the process. So it's mixed up nice. I'm going to give it a good rest now for about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to add the salt and then mix it again. Okay, so I've rested it for 15 minutes. I'm going to put in 2.5 teaspoons of salt and then give it a good old mix. The salt will firm it up slightly when you add the salt, but I'm going to mix it for another 5 minutes, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So you can see it looks a lot smoother now. It's still really soft, but it has got a much smoother texture. So I'm just going to scrape this all down, clean it up, and then I will show you what to do with it. What we do now is, you see how I've cleaned it all up, so that's going to stay now in this bowl for about 4 hours. But every 20 to 30 minutes, run the tap, wet your fingers, and then just fold your dough over from as you go around the bowl. Lift it up, fold it, and because you've got wet fingers, it won't stick to your fingers, and just keep moving it round, folding it for a couple of minutes, and this will create a bit of structure to it. And then you leave it again for another 30 minutes, and then do the same again. If you do that, that's going to be 8 times we're going to do that, and then you start to get a lot more consistency in your dough. Alright, so I'm going to cover it with cling film now and leave it for 30 minutes, and then repeat about 8 times. So you can see how it's changed over 4 hours. It's a lot firmer. See those air bubbles? Lovely air bubbles coming up. So you know that it's alive and it's growing. So I'm just going to take it out. Put a tiny bit of flour on it. And stretch it. And you're doing this, you're getting that gluten stretching, giving it more consistency. So I'm going to leave that for another 2 hours. Okay, so shaping that bread I've just cut into two after a nice 2.5 hour proof, and now I've got these bannetons, but if you haven't got these, just use a colander with a tea towel. Same thing, dust it with the flour. So I'm just going to flatten this down, stretch it, flatten it. Pull it apart and then stretch it across. And then pull it back really tight. And then put plenty of flour in it, because this is going in the banneton and I don't want it to stick. So you turn them upside down then.
You're not having salad?
Yeah, I'm doing it now, but she doesn't want to wait.
She doesn't want to wait? This can be another hour.
Well, it's going to be till it, as long as it takes.
Because I need to do some stuff so much.
Okay, now I'm just going to put this in the fridge overnight. Put some cling film on, put it over the fridge overnight, let it prove overnight, and then bake it in the morning. Okay, so it's been in the fridge overnight. It's been out now for 2 hours to get back to room temperature, and you can see how it's risen up nicely. So I'm just going to turn it out onto greaseproof paper. I've just got a sharp knife, you use a razor blade, whatever you like. Slice through it. This is my Dutch oven. That's been in for about an hour. I'm going to pop the bread straight in there. Lid back on and give it 20 minutes at 200. And then after that, I'll take the lid off and give it another 15 minutes. Okay, so that's 20 minutes. I've just lifted it out. You can see it's nice and risen. I'm just going to put it back with no lid now for 15 minutes to get it nice and brown.